So welcome to all on Climate Social Forum. As I was saying, this is a Talanoa special session after the COP27. The goal of this initiative is to report to the Climate Social Forum community what's happened during the COP27, as some of us were there, and we experienced the 2 weeks of negotiation. A lot of things has happened, and so we want to also use the space of Climate Social Forum to make a bridge and make a connection with the world community, also for the ones that maybe may not able to be there. So first of all, I want to know among the audience who was there and who has a little first of all, who was there. So I was there. I don't know who else was there or attended, even virtually. Just put me a star into the chat or raise your hand. I think Moran was there.
Yeah, I was there.
Okay. Who else was there? Okay, for now, just me, Moran, but I think that also other colleagues gradually that will join will report their experience. Who has followed, even online, even during the days the COP, the negotiation? I mean, who was like following the newspaper? Who was following the updates during the 2 weeks? Okay, perfect. Aziru, perfect. Okay. Thank you. Welcome also, Patrick. Okay, so I think that we can proceed in this way. If you agree, I will make a brief introduction on what's happened, what is COP, and how it's structured. Just brief. I will report then my experience, and then I will let the space to Moran and to every other are joining to report their experience on COP27. And after that, let's have an interaction with, comments, questions, and so on. So welcome, Edward. Hi. So just 1 second. Okay. I will accompany my introduction with some images and few slides just to get clear. I don't want to make a presentation, but just to, hello? I don't know who's speaking. Just 1 second. Please mute yourself. Hi, Patrick. Just can just to mute. I was saying, so the COP is a process that is going till 1992 into the UNFCCC, that is the UN framework on climate change. And actually, this framework is organized in some bodies, some assemblies that are COP by COP meeting in order to decide the strategies and the action towards climate action, climate responses. And besides the official bodies that represent the meeting of the ministries, of the delegates of the states, that you can find on the right part of the screen, the Conference of Parties, that is actually the COP, so the assembly of all representative of states that will decide about the main decision regarding climate change. There are sub-study bodies that are like some intermediate bodies made by experts in order to supply the decision of decision maker. But also there is a lot of space also for civil society and this so-called non-party stakeholder, that are these parts that you can find on the left. These are the so-called constituencies. Constituencies are like groups of civil society representative that can be youths, can be indigenous people, farmers, researchers, and so on. Every, we can say, category can have its constituency. And these are groups of NGO, groups of organizations, and so on, that interact also with the negotiator during the years of the COP. So let me go to another image. What was we can say, the goal and the like path that leads us towards the COP27? We are at the 27 appointment of this COP, and actually to now we are discussing the implementation of Paris Agreement as main issue. So Paris Agreement was signed in 2015 in order to in a way overcome on also the problem that sometime the Kyoto Protocol, that was the previous protocol beside the Paris Agreement, as finding. And just one second. Okay, here we are. Okay, where I want to go, it's here. Okay. So it's been we can say, long path towards the 57 appointment of this scope. We started in 1992. There were a lot of story also before today's. Important stepstones are the Paris Agreement and also the Kyoto Protocol and so on. But here, actually, we are in the era, we can say, of Paris Agreement. It was signed in 2015. So let me go forward. Okay. So the goal of this COP was to implement some part of the Paris Agreement and to find the finance to cover all the decisions that were under the Paris Agreement, basically. And standing to that, was important to find the way to cover, especially the finance actions, and how to do that. Actually, the countries need to have pledges in order to cover that the 100 billions of dollars that was estimated to cover financially the decision that has been taken in Paris. In fact, the motto of the COP was together for implementation. So this was the main, we can say, claim that accompanied the COP during the days of Marrakesh. And here was the venue. All the negotiation has been done in Sharm el Sheik at the Tonino Lamborghini Conference Center. And as you can see, the main goals and objective of the conference was on 4 lines, we can say 4 lines of action. Mitigation, that means reduction of CO2 emission on all the greenhouse gases that are causing climate change. Adaptation, that was very important this time. That means respond to climate change. Finance, as I say, cover financially the pledges and the commitments that the Paris Agreement is providing, and collaboration, because also was important to frame and address all the cooperative approaches that the Paris Agreement is seeking, and that are very important to cope globally the climate change. No, we also know in Climate Social Forum our motto is together we have solution, alone we have problems. So collaboration and cooperation between states is something that is very needed also from the climate change side and from the Paris Agreement itself. But of course, you need to be regulated by international treaties, by frameworks of action that can make them in a defined way, and also that can synchronize all the action towards a unique goal. This unique goal is to stay into 1.5 degrees by 2100, standing the situation of the pre-industrial levels. So this is the goal that the Paris Agreement have, to maintain the global warming into 1.5 degrees by 2100, by this century, actually, because even though climate change will become too much unpredictable, too much also harsh for communities, that we are not able anymore to cope with the effect and extreme events that already are happening. What have been the results of COP before this brief introduction? I will just share with we can say one pager that I also share with you. 1 second. Okay, perfect, here. Okay, in today's one pager, we resume basically the main outcomes from COP. I'll also send you a link where there is a more detailed analysis on what's happening. But basically, the results that we achieved during this discussion are listed here. Historically, has been a decision on the so-called loss and damage. Loss and damage is like a strategy to like give resources to that countries that are already hit by climate change. It was a decision that is like an argument, a topic that was started in COP9 in Copenhagen a lot of times ago. It was never decided how to proceed on that. This year, finally, has been opened a fund that will be operative in 2 years, that will support 150 countries that have considered to be already hit heavily by climate change. Mitigation is the other streamline. We also say this mitigation means reduction of the sources of climate change, that are the greenhouse gases. On this step, actually, we don't have a great result compared to COP26 in Glasgow, because the very goal that all, we can say, the environmental community is fostering is to stop using fossil fuels, because fossil fuels are the main cause of climate change and greenhouse gases. And countries need to agree to stop, finally, since a certain date, the use of fossil fuel. Unfortunately, in the cover decision, that is the final decision of COP27, this point has been not really addressed. So there is not a clear declaration on stopping climate change. Is like we can say last declaration that the fossil fuel will be phased down and there will be like reduced by 2050, but not a clear stop. That's something that we have to foster on still till the end negotiation. As I said to you, cooperation was important, and in fact, cooperation was a great result in terms of the adaptation. I will not go in like too many technical details, but basically from COP26, there was a great effort, like a great, can say, international commitment on promote cooperation towards adapting to climate change between states. So, for example, if Indonesia is very hit by climate change, it can cooperate with, I don't know, Europe or Latin America or whatever, to, for example, find technological solution for early warning system, technological solution for prevent the risks of climate change, and so on and so forth. And this work, this negotiation stream has been a great result under the so-called global goals on adaptation. The global goals on adaptation also asked the countries to provide national adaptation plan, so strategies that can prepare the states to the effects of climate change. Finance, we already said what was the problem. Actually, there was like the need to cover $100 trillion by year for finance the climate action, both in mitigation and adaptation. This goal was not achieved, but surely there will be more pledges, more commitment from especially the developed country to cover the cost of this action. And also, a very important thing, the final decision is asking the multilateral development banks like internet, like I don't know, World Bank and so on, to prioritize the climate action. So even though we can not get the final money, we can say, actually there was a great asking for reforming the finance system towards a climate action. Food system, that's something that I think it's interesting for a lot of you. Food system, after like few time of struggle, they had a great result with a new program that will be managed by FAO, that it's called Sharm el Sheik. Oh, sorry, I will go back. Sharm el Sheik Joint Work on Agriculture. Food system, I said, achieved this new program for addressing the impacts and also the potentials of agriculture into like climate change action, also considering the whole food chain. So not just, we can say, the cropping, but all the food system. So how to make the food system more sustainable, how also to make food system a contributor towards reducing emission. This new program will work on that. Youth inclusion and stakeholder inclusion. This has been also a great result because the final decision mentioned several times into the final text that it's important to include youths into climate negotiation and into climate action because they are like the citizens of the future, and also they can have solutions. And also it's important to involve civil society because civil society sometimes is even more ready than states to respond and to provide ideas, innovation, and so on. And the final decision recognize that these parts of the communities, of the human communities, need to have a better role into like even the strategies and the decisions that are taken at the national and the international level. So I will stop here. If you want to go a little bit in deep on these results, I share you this analysis that we made with some colleagues. I hope that can be useful. But now I stop here and I give the floor to other observers, of course, that were there, and then to like a better discussion. So I'll give the floor to Moran if she wants to speak out.
Hi, thank you. First of all, this is a great update. Let me. I'm glad to be part of the working groups. Here, I can put my screen a little bit. I'm glad to be part of the working groups during the year. We are working on some inputs in the negotiations, and really from seeing from year to year in the last few years how the world is talking more and more about climate change, and I think the governments are starting to feel the pressure from civil society. They're understanding that they can't take very much longer to actually implement the change. I agree that maybe it's a lot to expect the governments immediately to do implementation, even if the title of the COP is Together for Implementation. It doesn't mean that it's easy to coordinate almost 200 different countries to make the change. I also think civil society, when we ask for our demands, we have to be prepared for what this means for our lifestyle change. If they change the system, if they make the legislation changes that we are demanding. And I'm also not sure that everyone is prepared for this, because even in the last year, with the war with Russia and Ukraine having an effect on gas prices and food prices, and the inflation around the world, and the discussion about maybe recessions happening globally, I think we need to really think about what we're demanding and what we are considering a success or a failure. For me, to have youth mentioned officially is enormous achievement, and we need to talk about intergenerational working together, because yes, it's the future of the youth, but also the elders have the experience, and the experts are, have more time that they've been working on, problems and solutions. So I think we need to think about the narrative and what we are demanding. And then there's the loss and damage that I think last year, COP26 was the year that loss and damage really was discussed. And the fact that this year we already have it in a draft in writing, even though it will take maybe 2 years to coordinate all the protocol and the bureaucracy and coordinating the transfer of funds, and doing all the calculations, like they said in the draft, that it depends on what will happen with climate change, and if we need more or less funds based on how much we succeed to do system change. I think this is a historic achievement for all humanity, and almost like the United Nations forming after World War II was a huge achievement for humanity. I think Loss and Damage Fund is a sign of globalization and moving forward as one species, and acknowledging and recognizing that we are all connected. We are all part of the problem, and we are all part of the solution. For me, I'm feeling more and more that we need to work together, both internationally, intergenerationally, and between the sectors, the private and public. Like, civil society needs to work together with the leaders. Leaders need to work together with civil society, and then corporations in between. Because we are also the consumers. We are also the ones who are, paying the money for the fossil fuel companies when we drive or fly somewhere. But if we are going to make the system change, we also need to understand that we need, more money invested in developing solutions, alternatives, renewable energy, agricultural solutions, et cetera, et cetera. And I think the most important thing that is not yet talked about enough is water, and the importance of water for survival. And we talk about food, but even to grow the food, we need water. And right now, our water system and the cycle is needing attention. So we make sure that we have enough drinking water for the 8 billion people we are now on planet Earth. Otherwise, I think this is really, I think Climate Social Forum is a great platform for us to come together from different parts of the world and discuss what solutions we have, what ideas we might have, how do we get it in front of the decision makers, and how do we prepare for COP28 is a great, this road to COP28 is a great concept and idea for us to start now, and also to prepare for the Climate Social Forum 2023, and working together regularly. So we have more people attending and working together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Moran, for your intervention and for your sharing. And I saw that also, I think Charles Bagulon has joined. Let me know if he's there. No, I think that he is facing some problem of connection. Oh, yes, you're there. Hi. Hi, Charles. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Actually, we are making like a follow-up after COP27. You also were there. And now every one of us that was there is sharing a little bit his or her experience. And I kindly ask also to you, if you want to share your experience from COP27 and your comments on that.
Okay, thank you, Vito, for
sorry, John. Yeah, we cannot hear you very well, so I don't know if you can manage for.
I say thank you for your job and all that you are doing to improve your idea to join all NGOs around the climate change. I mean, the COP27 was an opportunity to us to meet in person and to work in person. We have just a one-side event in person, and I mean, this is the time for us to think more than side event online or in person, as I told you last time, because what is the benefit for us to be online, to exchange, to discuss, to think about the subject in order to increase the resilience of the population? I mean, this is the time now to think more than this. How we can join us together, how we can think us together in order to have, I don't know, support. Because if you want to make the comparison to today, the NGOs of the South, I want to say the African NGOs need help. They need more cooperation in order to help the rural community. So the NGO, we are enough, I mean, in the developed countries, how we can work together in order to, because if we don't think like this, we may prepare the COP28. We will go there and we don't have more results. So this is my first remark. And for me, the 27 it was let's say we have one good result, because in final the negotiation give us a loss and damage fund. We are waiting, and I think so, I think that it will not be like in the COP15 in Paris, where the developed country promise has 100 billion per year, and until this time we don't see it. So we will be hoping that this fund will help less countries to fight the climate change effect. So let me resume that COP27 is a good experience for us to meet and to see more than a side event, and to see how we can think about a climate, let's say we can think about African fund for civil society to fight climate change. It's possible. This is a negotiation. This is I mean, a union in order to improve the resilience of population. This is my first remark, and I will also thank you more because you are doing all that we are doing. Normally, you'll be connected with a big phone in order to help you what you are doing. I mean, we see as is it possible. And as you know, I'm an Africa representative in the UNCCDCSO panel. So many things to do, and we'll be in touch. Thank you also to Mora in Israel for your tireless presence in our side event. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles, for everything you do. I come together.
You're welcome. Yeah, you're welcome, Mora. You're welcome.
Thank you to the colleagues that have shared their impression, but also very useful comments and points. So thank you for sharing that. So let's eventually now have some space for interaction also from the audience. Is at Talanoa, so we want to basically share experience. So please, everyone that wants to step in, please introduce yourself and eventually ask your comments or put your points. Now the discussion is open. After like a first briefing, now we can talk openly. So the floor's to you. Yes, Dumbre, please.
According to my opinion.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I saw Mahmoud. Yeah, let's go with the Dumbre, then Mahmoud. Please, Dumbre.
According to my opinion, global warming or global threat, it is one of the big threat to all of us. One thing. Second thing, whatever I heard in India, one of my friend, Mr. Girish Raut, he is also a big environmentalist and studied environmentalist. So what he was saying in one of the video he has released in January 2020, that is 10 months back. So what he was saying in that, he said that in 2015 they have all of the scientists from all over the globe, they have joined there at Copenhagen, and they decided to not to increase the temperature of this earth by 2 degrees Celsius. But in August 2020, okay, the temperature of the earth is increased by 2.4% as the data published by NASA. Okay. And in that also he has mentioned that there is one book written by the director of the NASA, that is The Storms of My Grandchildren, which was released in 2007. I got that book also. So what he has written in that, there is a big problem of this climate change to all human beings, basically human beings. It will be one of the very big problem to all of the human beings in near future. So my suggestion or my understanding is this: if suppose this, because he is showing the data of NASA, which is in 2020 August, he has that NASA has published 2.4% degree of the temperature is risen in all over the globe. So it is a big problem. So all must act, all human beings must act on this, which is I am doing right now here, of planting of different things and all these things. So different plants and this here and there, and creating awareness to people in all over the society regarding honeybees as well as the nature, because I am basically an entomologist and I studied the honeybees, and I create a lot of awareness programs to all human beings in India, and tries to tell to childrens and farmers also. So that is my experience, whatever I have done, whatever I wanted to share. This is what. Domenico, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Dumbre. I have a comment to reply on that, but I saw that Mahmoud and Samson wants also to interact, and I'll give the floor to them. So Mahmoud, please. Mahmoud.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm sorry if I didn't catch the question well. I'm joining the Zoom meeting while I go back from my work. But I want to share my experience as attendant for the COP27 in Egypt. I'm from Egypt. I participated in the green zone. It was an awesome experience to go to this green zone and share my experience and share my knowledge with all ministries, all NGOs, all even knowledge and experience about it. There was a lot of country also the atmosphere in the atmosphere of being was all who's interested in SDGs and
Yeah, Mahmoud, we cannot hear you very well, but
climate change in particular. It was and thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mahmoud. Thank you for sharing your experience. Very glad that you are part of this discussion. And also, let me say thank you also for Egypt to hosting us for this COP27. Has been like a warm welcome. So thank you, Mahmoud, for that. And Samson, I saw that has the raised hand. So please, Samson, if you want to go. You are muted. Please, if you...
Yeah, are you getting me now?
Yeah, please.
Thank you very much, Domenico, for giving me this opportunity. To the rest of the team, I am Samson Oluoch, the director of Bridges of Hope, a community-based organization based in Homa Bay, Kenya. Our focus is to train, equip, and also create awareness to community women and also youths within our community and also globe on climate smart culture agriculture in the basic and the basis of CP27 that was carried out just last month, where our brothers in the house together with Domenico attended. I could not attend that because of some of the things that actually came out for our organization. I would like to encourage us. I just had just one statement to make. I would like to encourage us basically to get more ideas on climate smart agriculture, and especially on what we are calling the kitchen garden climate smart agriculture, which is our main focus right now as an organization with the local women. And also we are starting training on how to plant easy growing plants and trees that actually going to help us get a lot of rainfall that is very adequate for agriculture. What we are giving right now is what we call IMP. IMP is integrated method of planting. We are giving a bag to youth groups and also to women groups. And especially we are giving to individual members of these groups. Sorry, it is raining and I have to run to a house. I'm very sorry.
No worries, no worries. Thank you, Samson. Thank you for sharing these important points. And as I said, agriculture has been also one important streamline in discussion and negotiation during this COP, especially on the importance of food systems, like as a whole, not just the cropping, but the whole food system need to be climate smart and climate compliant. And also, just I want to say one thing about that, and then also take the chance to respond to Dumbre. Me, Moran, also participated to a very, very interesting event that was organized by one of our friends from India that's called Gokul, regarding the role of indigenous knowledge to preserve and to implement climate smart agriculture and food system. The title, I want to maybe show the flyer. That was like our planet, our food, our health. So how, for example, health is connected also into these topics. So totally yes, I can say with Samsung, and totally yes, I think that after this meeting, as Climate Social Forum community, we need to enforce and reinforce our also programs towards the support of climate smart agriculture and towards, for example, also capacity building. That was one of the topic also of this COP. So there is work to do, just to say for all of us. Responding to Dumbre, actually, yes, we are outside the we can say the global warming goal set by Paris Agreement that initially was 2 degrees, but then the scientists has given a special report on 1.5 degrees, was called like this, to settle the deadline, the threshold not to 1.5, not to 2, but not to but on 1.5 degrees. I just show this slide. 1 second. Let's report the IPCC scenarios. As we can see, the problem is that here there is like the projection if nobody is acting. Okay, this was like a report from 2014 still. This is the scenarios that actually we are quite in. Okay, so if there are some policies, some adaptations, and some like strategies implemented, and so we are staying. So from the current state, from the current we can say pledges, we are here 2.8, 3.2. The topic is that we have to improve. Okay, we have to improve, and we have to be set more important goals, and also timing is important. Okay, so if we can act on time, we can follow this line more easier, and we can also lower this line, okay, to stay into 1.5 degrees. To the current pledges, we are around 2.4, 2.6. Okay, the current state. Okay, what I mean with pledges, just I will go to another slide to explain. Actually, don't mind about the Italian thing, but I want just to focus on the images. Actually, countries are committed under the Paris Agreement to provide the so-called NDCs, so national determined contribution, that are the national plans to respond on mitigation and adaptation. And every 5 years, they have to report and update their pledges on a gradual ambition way. So they have always to be better every 5 years. The fact is that these pledges, these strategies under the Paris Agreement are in a way, we can say, not mandatory still. Okay, so the countries are asked to report, asked to provide these strategies, but for example, on the last COP, as I remember, only around 50 countries has given these NDCs. Not all the countries are ready as given this strategy. That's why we are not still in line with the 1.5 degrees, because we need a like a comprehensive action. Just imagine in this little we can say cartoon. The fact is that the 1.5 degrees is our goal to set up the balloon. No, imagine that the doctor are saying to us, look, the objective is 1.5 degrees. Our 1.5 degrees is like we want to let fly the balloon, but the balloon is flying only at a certain limit of weight. And so the countries that maybe can be these two guys, one is more fat, one is they have to agree all together to reach the objective that is like, I don't know, the final weight allowed for let the balloon fly. And that means that what I do as a country is not independent from what is doing by the other country. We have all to like agree together. Need to be multilateral, our decision. That's why, I mean, that's the difficulty of the game. To now, as I said, the current projection stands to have like to reach out the global warming till 2100 of 2.4 degrees. That means we are not still in line, and we have of course to improve. Please, Priyabata, I saw the floor. Please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Domenico, and thank you all of the members of Climate Social Forum for giving this platform to discuss about. Now, I heard about the discussion, all total discussion. Now, two things is there. One is the actual action, what will be taken by the UN or other international bodies after the COP22. Now, the first is we need plantation, but deforestation is more, isn't it? More is going on in the world worldwide. So stopping the deforestation, because the plantation, when I make a plant, it's a very seedling. It takes time for its flowering or its branching, and then the carbon dioxide absorption of carbon dioxide or etc. Takes place. So it is very long time. So we should stopping the deforestation. And another thing is that the as COP27 is discuss about the involvement of citizen and NGOs or etc. But what will be the process? What will be the path of that? So we need a proper roadmap. Sometimes you know that we have seen that climate change mitigation processes or etc. There, the UN system is making inter-governmental process. So the government is taking the fund or other benefited, and they distributed to their administration or department, etc. And possibly always not work properly. Although the policy is very beautiful, but the implementation is not properly at the field level. And each and every, the step of the mitigation process or adaptation process, climate change, is not properly monitored actually. So I think for the next COP, we need to discuss about the how to help NGOs or local people or local community directly with the UN system. And another thing is that we should emphasize on lifestyle improvement, more climate smart lifestyle. So very small things are there, very small process are there that we can reduce the greenhouse emissions and controlling the global warming. So new technologies are there. Climate smart agriculture is another option. Already we work with Domenico, and of course we need that how to implement at grassroots level, how to implement at local level. Then emphasize more and more policies are there, more and more strategies are there, but not implemented properly. So I think our first we need that the funding system should be more sustainable, more equitable. Then we will close to mitigate the climate change. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mukerie. On this, just want to add one point, and then I leave the floor to other intervention. We have still 5 to 10 minutes to interact. Then we will close the call. But before that, it's important, and thank you for this intervention, Professor Mukerie. For example, to take this input for the next topics of the Climate Social Forum, next activities. Okay, because what can do, for example, the Climate Social Forum on this side, providing ideas, input, and so on. From when the Climate Social Forum was born, every year we are publishing the outputs from our discussion during the main event of Climate Social Forum. And for example, one of the topics of this year that has been discussed during the days of the Climate Social Forum 22 was properly the local implementation and the role of local communities. During this COP, I didn't mention, as a Climate Social Forum, we had a side event. I'm now covering some photo with Charles. Charles has mentioned it before that we had a side event into the green zone where Muhammad was present also. And it's important that as Climate Social Forum, we can come to COP with something tangible, something that we can deliver. We delivered, for example, this year and even the outputs of Climate Social Forum, the results of our activities, and so on and so forth. Or even to the negotiators, no, because the negotiators then can see that the local communities are active, and so also the local communities can implement and can make a active part of into climate action. So I take this chance of the intervention of Mukerie to say, maybe let's strategize our action for next Climate Social Forum also on these topics. So thank you for this contribution. I don't know if there are other intervention. Let me see if there are other raised hands. In the meanwhile, that maybe there are also other intervention, I want to also show this slide that I take from IPCC report. Was interesting, and this is the last thing that I want to report you back. That the IPCC is thinking about this concept of climate resilient development. That means that we can go over the things of risk. So risk is the concept in which we have to plan our communities, our agriculture, and so on the risk. But this development represent also, so this action towards taking in account the risk can be also a way to develop better, to like create a climate resilient development. So this concept is very interesting for acting at the local level, at the community level, and also on agriculture. That means a new way to think about development. So not just an indefinite growth, not just we can say a grow without limit, without thinking about the risk connected to our action, but a climate resilient development that in which the compliance to climate change, the compliance to sustainable development goal is part of a new development of communities. Taking what Prabhat was saying, I think that this concept can be interested also to be developed by us. Okay, thank you to you. So I don't know if there are other interventions. If no, I just show the photos of our side event. Yeah, for the first time this year, we had a side event into COP. Thank you very much again to the collaboration with the friend and colleague Charles, that is really committed on us having this event. So congratulations. Just I want to show the photos if there are. Okay. Yes. Okay. So as I said, we had this side event during the COP related to the role of mangroves into the coastal ecosystem and preservation of the coastal ecosystem. The recording of this event is also available on our YouTube channel, so you can see there the intervention. And yeah, let me see. Yeah, this was the speaker panel. So a lot of speakers from Africa, but also from US, Europe, and so on. Was like a super international panel. And that's it. Let me find if I have some photos about that. Yes. Okay. Yes, here our friend Charles Balugon, that was like with another colleague that we were assisting. There was also online speakers. Dr. Gabriela Fernandez from the University of San Diego, that was showing the metabolism of cities. Yeah, here we are, Paulino Witty, that was also presenting. There I am managing the computer, and here a nice thing, me with the executive director of UNEP, the UN Environmental Program, Ingrid Andersen. So the COP, as we said, is also a nice way to connect with people and so on. So I mean, was a fruitful discussion on that. So yes, I can share the PCC report with you. Just give me 1 second. You can find something here in this link that I sent to you. But also I wrote an article on that climate resilient development that I share with you. Just 1 second. Okay, here it is. Okay, I think that we can close. Just before closing, as in a Climate Social Forum tradition, I want to ask to all of you one word that describes your experience on this webinar. So how do you feel after this webinar? Let's start with Anima Sharma. I don't know if you want to share just one word that feels you in this moment after this webinar.
Hello,
Yeah,
Yeah, today's webinar was really fabulous. I mean, I've learned so many things from this webinar. And I have a small NGO in India, and I hope that I'll be able to apply a few things here through my NGO. Thank you.
sure, sure. I share with you our email. You can write to us, and so you can also be part of the community. So thank you. Then
Yeah,
Dumbre,
thanks.
to you.
Hello. Informative seminar. That's all.
Thank you very much.
Informative seminar. That's all. Only one word.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, Samson, to you. If you want to share.
I just want to say first, congratulations, Mr. Domenico, and to all of us, congratulations, and this is a great work. I think I've learned something that I will share with my community. If you check on your WhatsApp, you will see what we are doing with the youths and what we are doing with the women, Domenico. So this webinar was very grateful. Congratulations.
Thank you very much to you. Koku, if you want to go. Koku, if you want to share a word, if you are there, even though Bahar, if you want to share one word to like fill you into this webinar after the conclusion.
Yes, I try to. I think I have to just like this. Perhaps you're seeing me. I'm Bahar from Istanbul. I'm working for STSN Turkey, and we are just really focusing on education. And since years, we are working for the kids, youth, and then different layers of the society. Just we were recognizing the ACE, Action for Climate Empowerment, and we have to know about the problem first of all, then just push the people just to create new tools for innovation and to share the knowledge that we accumulate to be able to transfer this whole, it's a big responsibility. We cannot leave alone the youth and the kids in that way. So we're doing our responsibility in that way, in that sense. What you have shared during this webinar is really very important. And then I may just briefly mention that this is a solidarity. The needle drops, but will accumulate soon and very rapidly, I hope. So we don't have any exit. So not to, as the UNDP Dino message, not to choose the extinction. We have to work. We have to accelerate our efforts. Thank you for the webinar.
Thank you to you, Bahar, and very glad if you want to stay connected also. So please feel free to write us. Koku,
thank you.
Koku. I saw Koku. Please go, Koku.
Good day, everyone, and thank you, Domenico, for this webinar. I really appreciate the outcome you share with us, and I think that this will guide us for the next year actions. We have to implement more, and through the different webinars and this session we will have. I think these results that you share with us will guide us throughout the year for our actions. So I'm so grateful, and thank you very much.
Thank you to you all also for your work that you are doing on the ground, and I hope that we can help on that in this. So let's go to Bola. Bola, are you there?
Oh. Yeah, hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon. So I'm Bola Ashiro from Nigeria. I'm the president of Agrophobia Agricultural Cooperative, and we do trainings and encourage the rural community. This particular webinar is one of the is a great one and it's an eye-opener to me. And I believe strongly that it will be immense benefit for my country. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to you. Thank you to all. So also, please also give also some feedbacks also to improve, eventually something we can do better and so on. Thank you very much for your appreciation. Let's go to Charles.
Hello, Vinto.
Yeah.
Thank you
The
for
floor.
the Zoom party. We are ready to continue working, and I want to wish a nice Sunday to all. And I would like to tell you that last time I meet Kenneth in Accra, very nice meeting. He came to see me in my hotel. Very nice meeting.
Wow. So you have to know that with Charles we are meeting in different places around the world now. So that's cool. So thank you, Irwan. I saw that you are connected. Irwan, if you want to make 2 words to eventually discuss.
Yeah, in fact, I like to find out more conclusion from the CPCC program that usually they have at the end they decided determine through conclusion like how many degrees right now we are as far as the increase that at 1.3 degrees or also when business as usual they're projecting a certain degrees like at the end of the decade, like 2030. I'm sorry I was late, but joining here. But do they indicated, for example, what kind of the risk assessment that we should be concerned when we're dealing with the climate change effort? I noticed like diversity and some of these things. So I was wondering if you can pinpoint some of this like conclusion where we are right now. And with especially with the electric car coming up and so on, would that be improving to some extent the situation with the GHG gas, greenhouse gas emission and so on? So can you maybe have some info about that? Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So as a just to give a straight number, we are around 2.4 degrees with the current pledges on the objective of the into 1 point, like to reach the global warming by 1.5 degrees. We are below 1.5, and to now we are on 2.4. Regarding the electric cars, I think the discussion is very interesting. I think that maybe we can dedicate eventually a session to that, because is as every topic that is interesting sometimes is also controversial. That means that in a sense electric cars can improve greenhouse gas emission, especially in transportation, because of course you eliminate one of the biggest cause of climate change, that is transportation. I think that it has around 20% estimated contribution towards the emission of greenhouse gases, like the transportation sector, I mean. And so, especially in cities, and so electric car can represent a very important like diminution of this contribution. But of course their production is not we can say for free, and of course to product and to implement a new market of electric cars, does it mean that you need to consume energy, you need to consume and so on. So there is a great debate about that. I will just maybe share my opinion. My opinion is that surely having a new system for moving that are based by car, but they are electric, it's great. But maybe we have to think about a change in ownership. So to now, every family, every people wants a car, and of course we are 7 billion on this planet, and if everyone wants a car, is 7 billion cars. But another thing is to think about, for example, car sharing. No, so in cities, implementing an electric car sharing can be an interesting proposal, for example, to diminishing the contribution of cities to greenhouse gas emission. There's a strong debate on that, because there are people that are pro, because it's a diminution of greenhouse gases, but there are people that are saying producing electric cars in a massive way is even more consumptive, is even more emitting than staying at this level. So that's a debate on that. Surely there are programs that are wanting to implement electric mobility. Let's have let's plan a discussion on that. It's interesting topic. Okay.
Thank you. One more thing, Domenico, is that do they have like carbon exchange with the developed countries for some small communities? Like we are in the, say, community in Africa, poor, but very small. Do they have mechanism so that it can communicate with some of the bigger institution or governmental institution where they can get funding or exchange because of the saving of carbon, for example, or mitigation of the carbon, so that they will be rewarded for their effort in the local community level? Thank you.
Thank you for your inputs here, Juan. I think that you are raising a very interesting topic, and this topic deserves an entire session, both of them. Just a glance, just a few glances in one of the other topics of this scope that unfortunately didn't conclude in a defined decision, because they need to revise to the next COP, is about Article 6 of Paris Agreement. Article 6 of Paris Agreement is actually design the new carbon markets between states. Now I'm talking about states. That means that under Paris Agreement, there will be no more like Kyoto Protocol carbon exchange, but there will be a new market based on international transferable mitigation outcomes. This is the name is given by this exchange of carbon emission between states. And Article 6 is properly regulating such new market of carbon credits. Article 6 is made by 3 branches, made of 9 sub-paragraphs, but 3 are very important and are on discussion now, that are the 6.2, 6.4, and 6.8. And as you can see from the slide, the 3 are actually working on 3 topics. The 6.2 is defining the cooperative approaches, so how countries can cooperate with this carbon emission exchange. 6.2 is defining a new market based on multilateral approaches, and 6.8 is framing the non-market approaches. So that means that, for example, if you are collaborating with, I don't know, a country, but there is not direct implication on carbon emission, but there is a future one. For example, I make capacity building with another country. This is not countable as like carbon emission, but it's a non-market approach. So it's relevant for climate, for reducing the GHG. So then we need some ways to regulate also that. Article 6 is the topic, but it's acting between states. Okay, it's like a thing that is working at the state level. Beside this, there are also voluntary markets that are like market of carbon credits that are made for civil society and private sector and so on. Beside this, and these, they also have a sort of relationship. But the fact is that, sorry. Okay. the fact is that all this system globally is still on definition. Okay, there are several initiatives that now are running also on the voluntary markets and so on, but it's still in development, and it's a topic that I say we need eventually a space, dedicated space to talk with.
Yeah, sometimes when you're dealing with the country to country, sometimes the people in the bottom didn't see all this benefit in terms of carbon exchange. I think what we need to do is to make sure that no corruption, nothing that being corrupted, something that go to the grassroots level of economic, the bottom level of the people. So I think that's what we need to do.
That's true, and in fact, there is a great potential in these approaches. It's important to do not run into like the same, we can say, errors.
The same business. The same business.
Yeah, the same business as usual. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, dears. Just I know that maybe we are a bit late. Just I want to give a floor to Moran and Mahmoud just to give few words to close, and Priyabrata to give one word to close. Please, just one word, and then we will close. So Moran, Priyabrata, and Mahmoud, just to close, and eventually everyone wants to speak. Please, Moran.
Together.
Perfect. Thank you.
That's my word.
Priyabrata. Dr. Mukherjee, please.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a holistic and participatory approach, and of course, it is a future development.
Thank you very much. Mahmoud, and then also I see Patrick around. Patrick, Tanzania Conservation Voice. 2 words, and then we close. Mahmoud, are you there? Okay, I think that they are not at the computer. So, dears, has been amazing. This is my word, amazing. I'm very glad to share with this space and time with you. Let's follow up and let's be together for implementation. Also, following up what Moran said. Bye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Domenico. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye, everybody.
Bye.